I would like to start this video by saying that I have absolutely nothing against Seth the programmer. I think his editing and overall video quality is vastly superior to mine, and he has never done anything to wrong me. I would hope if this video comes across any of his fans or even himself that it would not be taken personally. I'm just expressing my opinion on what he rightfully claimed to be a contentious topic. With that being said, the reason I'm making this video is because tons of people in my video comment sections as well as my Discord have been requesting that I make a response to Seth's "How Strong is Luffy" video, and after watching it, I would say that I do have a disagreement with the integral assumption made in the video, that being that Luffy dodging Foxy's beam was an indication of him moving at over light speed. While this could be chalked up to Seth and I having a difference in the way we fundamentally interpret anime and power levels, I think that even beyond that, the logic used to make the arguments in the video show an inconsistency of that interpretation. Seth's big point that starts the scale is how Foxy's beams are said to be made of photons, and photons in our world move at light speed. This is where I believe our difference in interpretation lies. Seth seems to believe that it is only right to assume that in a story universe, all properties of physics will be identical to that of our world unless otherwise specified, meaning Foxy's beam must be moving at light speed since it is comprised of photons. And there's nothing wrong with that, that's just not how I do it. The way I interpret a story is that an author probably is not a physicist, and even if the physics in discussion are pretty basic, they probably aren't that concerned with the details. If anything in this case, I would reckon Oda may have been making the point of the beam being made of photons to explain that the beam would not have a physical effect besides the slowing, since photons are massless. Now, like I said, this is simply two ways of interpreting a fantasy world separate from our own. Neither way is necessarily correct. I wouldn't be making a video just to point out that we view these things differently. What I wanted to point out is that Seth's interpretation does seem to be inconsistent in the video. My reason for saying this is because while Seth does seem to account for everything being identical to our world, he does not account for the time lag all humans and animals experience between their eyes and brain. When your eyes see something, it takes time for them to send what they are seeing to your brain, meaning there is a time lag between what you see and what is reality. So for example, if you're playing catch, wherever you see the ball wouldn't be the actual location of the ball, it would be a few centimeters off depending on the distance and speed of the ball. Now, there have been studies on this time lag, and there is much evidence to suggest that our brains are actually so powerful that they are able to account for the time lag and shows us where the ball would be in reality, which is pretty amazing, and it's not something that I'm doubting. However, this would not be something that takes effect in a situation where the object is moving so fast that it reaches the target before that information could travel to the brain. The brain can't account for it if it already happened. With this in mind, I looked at a lot of scientific documents relating to research on just how long it does take for your eyes to send that message, and with it being an average of around 100 milliseconds or 1/10 of a second, I decided to take the smallest one I could find at 40 milliseconds to give Seth the greatest credit possible. So then we move on to how fast light actually is. Light travels at 670,615,200 miles per hour, or 186,282 miles per second. To give reference as to how fast that truly is, the Earth's circumference is 24,901 miles, meaning if something was to travel at light speed, it could orbit the Earth 7.73 times in 1 second. So let's assume that the distance between Luffy and Foxy is 100 feet when he uses his beam, which I think is quite generous. This would mean because of the time lag your brain has, Foxy's beam would reach Luffy 387,477.56 times before Luffy's brain could actually register that it was coming. Luffy can't dodge something he can't perceive. In the current story, this could be explained by somebody using observation haki, and that's fine. But the premise of this scale is that Luffy dodged a light speed attack before he had observation haki. And even if it was dodged by an observation haki user, that would simply be the dodging before the attack is even unleashed, since they are anticipating it, not necessarily moving faster. And the time lag is not the only real-life event that was ignored. It's also worth noting that in our world, anything with mass cannot reach light speed anyway, it can only approach it. My point is basically that if you're someone who interprets a story in the same way Seth does, those numbers would still be incorrect because it's failing to account for other factors, which is exactly why I tend to ignore the authors haphazardly using words like photon. It's not even like it all comes down to the interpretation in numbers and physics, just the things that happen in the story clearly demonstrate that nobody, with the possible exception of Kizaru, is moving anywhere even remotely close to light speed. Dressrosa is my second favorite arc in the series, and people shit on me all the time for that. Their main reasoning is that it was way too dragged out because half of it was watching Luffy running around Dressrosa. If he was able to move at even a tenth of light speed, he could travel to any location in Dressrosa in the blink of an eye. Even within the same arc, we have Zoro, who struggles to protect people from Pika because he's on the other side of the country, which again, he could travel to instantly if he was moving at light speed. So no matter what way you want to look at it, Luffy can't truly be moving at light speed. If you want to believe that Foxy's beam is moving at light speed, okay, that's fine. But that can't explain why Luffy or anyone else is able to dodge it because they must be bound by the same logic that explains that beam. I think it's much better to assume that the author's intentions are not to create a world that is physically a replica of our own. I seriously doubt Oda is sitting in his room with a calculator figuring all this shit out. That's really all I have to say on this topic. Again, I didn't mean to offend anyone in this video. You could say I respect Seth as a senpai in terms of YouTube. I just think that a lot of people would be put off by the idea that the main character of One Piece, who is currently considered to not be top tier, is moving at thousands of times faster than light speed. And since, as Seth said, this was his first One Piece video, I'm guessing that a lot of his audience isn't really that into One Piece right now, and I wouldn't want them to be put off by that idea. I would like the One Piece community to grow as much as possible. Also, I thought it would be really fun, and I was right. I had a great time making this video. Hopefully you guys were also able to enjoy this video. If you did, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to leave me a comment letting me know what you thought about this video, if you enjoyed it, if you didn't like the way that I interpret things, but you still kind of see what I'm saying. Whatever you want to say, let me know. If you have not already, make sure to check the description for the link to the Discord. Like I said, the Discord is basically the entire reason that I made this video. It's the way that I found Seth's video, so I encourage you to join that. We have awesome conversations about a ton of different topics relating to One Piece, as well as different anime and stuff, and even just things in the real world. It really is a great time. It's a really good community, and I encourage you guys to click on that link and join. It takes basically no time to sign up, like 30 seconds. You don't even need to actually have a real email address. It's super easy. Also, since Seth is the beautiful specimen who gave me what I needed to pump out this content, I will leave a link in the description to both his channel as well as the video that I am talking about, so make sure to go check out Seth's videos and subscribe if you like what he's got. With that all being said, I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your day, a fantastic weekend, and I'll talk to you guys soon.